Pleasant Sunday afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Birmingham. We are in the Embraer 300 and we're getting ready for a flight over to Charlotte Douglas. It's part of the Light Up ZTL event going on right now. We're a little bit late getting started. We were hoping to be on here more toward the beginning of the event. We're kind of catching the tail end of it right now. There's about a half an hour left, but word on the street is they will hang around a little bit for us, and hopefully we'll have some good ATC as we get things going here and all the way into Charlotte. Shouldn't be too long of a flight. It's about an hour and 15 minutes or so. Give you a feel here for what we're doing, our flight plan, our general plan here. Going to be departing probably with Birmingham 7 departure. It's the only departure out of Birmingham, and flying let's pull up the flying into Atlanta airspace here, and then fairly well up into RDU, or excuse me, CLT. We will be coming in. We're planning the Jones 2 arrival, and we will make adjustments as we go. But like I said, a pretty quick flight. It's going to be one of those that lots going to happen in a hurry, as always is the case in the Phenom 300. We're down here at the West FBO, and we're going to go ahead and start to get this bird ready for flight. Let's see, I have the flight plan filed. We will just real quickly, while we're kind of getting set up, pick up the ATIS information. India is what we have, and I'll just read that to you as I kind of take some notes. Information India.
Fire, 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 fire. Stall, stall.
November 50 and ground, good afternoon, sir. You are clear to the Charlotte Douglas Airport. Via the Birmingham 7 departures, she has transitioned and is filed. Maintain 4,000, expect 310, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is 123.8, squawk 1264. Five zero two Foxtrot, read that correct. Advisement, ready to taxi. 502 Foxtrot, runway 6, taxi via hotel. Guys, 502 Foxtrot, make sure squawking mode, Charlie, please. Five zero two Foxtrot, contact Birmingham approach for your further trains, 123.8, have a great flight. Flight station calling. Flight station calling, say again. Welcome back. American 1151, contact Jacksonville Center 124.77, bye bye. 12477, American 1151, bye bye. FedEx 49er Tango Heavy is back on your frequency.
You gotta go back over there, dude. Sorry. You go back over with Dad. Alright. Okay, I think we've got approach back with this. We're gonna Birmingham approach. Good afternoon, Phenom 502 Foxtrot. We're holding short runway 6 ready for departure.
Phenom 502 Foxtrot, Birmingham approach. Fly runway heading, runway 6 clear for takeoff.
Runway heading, clear for takeoff, runway 6, 2 Fox. Okay. There we go. They had a computer issue obviously and are back up and running, so that's good news. Before we get rolling, I am going to put in Atlanta Center again, 132. Oh shoot, actually I went to Atlanta Center instead of, yeah, that wasn't good, instead of back over to Birmingham ground. Whoops. Okay. Well, all is well that ends well, and I think we're ready to get airborne. The other thing I'm still trying to figure out with this plane is why the frames are so laggy. I mean, again, this is a default airport and I have some settings turned down actually. I'm just thinking it might just be the Carenado way, I guess, for lack of a better explanation. Okay, here we go. Runway 6. Takeoff power set. Oh boy, we're all over the place. Air V1 and rotate. Positive rate. Gear will come up. Flaps coming up. Autopilot is on. FLC is set. We are going to try to fly runway heading. We're just going to try to kind of, yeah, there we go. We're going to see what happens. Here's what does happen with the FLC. Yep, so it's going to nose down until it gets to 2,000 or 250. Then it'll climb.
Pull up.
Yeah, so that's the problem I'm having with the FLC.
Pull up. Pull.
Then it's going to go over 230, so then it's going to skyrocket.
2 Foxtrot, you are contact. Say altitude leaving.
2 Fox passing 2,500.
Ground 02 Foxtrot, roger. Turn right direct Cheehaw, climb and maintain 10,000.
Right, direct Cheehaw and up to 10,000. 502 Foxtrot. Alright, so let me explain again a little bit of what just happened right there. And again, this is just me learning how to use this tool. But as you saw, I mean, the goal of the FLC is to make a continuous climb at 230. So it's really a good it's a good tool to have on your autopilot, because it keeps you from stalling essentially. So you'll see the vertical speed is going to adjust, and the overall speed is going to stay right there around 230. But the problem I always have is when I first am climbing out, and maybe I turn the FLC on too soon. Maybe that's why. But you saw how it nosed down and then picked up the speed, and then it kind of went almost like a F-14 and went vertical. Hey, Al South checking in. How you doing, Al? We're in the Phenom, man. Ain't it pretty? Kind of getting our IFR fixed today, and we're going full on slant Lima, and we just about put it right down into that cornfield east of the Birmingham airport just a second ago. So you missed out already on some fun stuff. We're turning right to Chia. That's our first waypoint, and going to be picking that up. As you can see, we're going to kind of just vector ourselves here 030. I have another little issue that I have with this FMC is sometimes when I activate the direct to function, it gets rid of everything else in the flight plan. And so, actually I don't want to vector myself there, because I am currently, yeah, right, of course I want to be going here. I'm just chasing my tail now. Alright, we don't want to go, I'm going west. What is the deal here? What is the deal? Chia is to the east. I think we are actually tracking right there the Birmingham VOR. Yeah, alright, I'm going to get yelled at by ATC, I can tell, and I deserve it, because I'm flying like an idiot right now. Let's get going. Let's get turning generally east. Then we will look exactly at where Chia is. We'll just activate that leg of the flight plan here, and then hopefully we'll get Mr. Magenta Line heading the way we should. We can turn taxi lights off. We're at 10,000. Alright, let's pull up. Yeah, see, we're still, that's the issue. We need to activate that leg. There we go. Alright, that's more like it. And we can actually continue to come around. Oh boy, grandson is not happy over there. Alright, come around there about 150. Hopefully we'll get cleared to a little higher once we get outside of the Birmingham airspace. Slight delay on my part, but we're rocking and rolling. So this also not really holding where it should be holding speed-wise. So let's bring this back. We can go to max cruise. Let's see if that gets us back down. I mean, we're okay to be over 250 because we're at 10,000. But I was kind of expecting it to hold that, to be honest with you. We're going to be cruising at 280 knots today, so we'll go ahead and set that in for right now. Somewhere around, I think, Mach 0.7 ish. We could go a little higher if we needed to, but it's a fairly short flight, so I'm really not super worried about cranking it up. I mean, you can of course take this bird clear up into the flight level 400 area. I don't know what the top altitude is. You can really move, you can really scoot. It's a fun little plane, but yeah, we're just trying to get some hours. This is just an airplane that we're slowly building up some experience, and it's been fun. All right, our VOR is coming into, actually that's not a VOR, our magenta line is just about where it needs to be, and we will engage the nav, and as you can see, we're just about out of the airspace. We should receive some clearance up to 310. We'll be heading over to Atlanta Center. Alright, I think that'll work. Aha! Why? I thought it felt sluggish. Thought I had pulled the flaps up and I had actually extended them instead of up to the flaps 3 position. Yeah, that's not good. Alright. Speed will come up a lot now. And we'll actually have to back off ourselves here. We're level at 10,000, so we'll get, this thing will get moving. And okay, but we are engaged. We are on where we need to go. Atlanta Center. Okay, they're not giving us the handoff, so we're going to head that direction. I think he's just having some issues with his computer. Atlanta Center, good afternoon. Phenom 502 Foxtrot at 10,000. Maybe I'm having the problems here. One 13297, right? Isn't that where we're at? Yep, 13297.
And then 732 at 14,011.
ATC is having some issues here. That's too bad. These guys are, generally speaking, some of the best in the business. Well, we'll just kind of hang tight. He's got, I mean, this is Atlanta Center. He's got a lot of traffic, so we should be hearing him. I mean, we're just, that's us. Birmingham approach is logged off, but he's got all these guys, so yeah, there's something going on his end, I think, because we heard another aircraft. We just haven't heard him. Yeah, that's the last thing a pilot wants to hear. That's for sure. Well, I know that for a while they were having some trouble with one of the voice servers because it was just wreaking havoc with the Boston guys.
November 5, sorry, November 502 Fox, are you with me?
Hey, firm, go ahead for 502 Fox.
November 502 Fox, hello, maintain follow 310.
Climb and maintain 310, Phenom, 502 Foxtrot, thanks. Anyway, they were having all kinds of trouble. Okay, we're going to try the FLC function again. Since we're faster than 280, we should start our climb. And maybe that's the key. Maybe you need to be faster than what you want so that you're guaranteed a climb. Look at that climb though, 5,000 feet per minute. I mean, if you're in that, maybe you don't notice it, but I think that's pretty extreme. And then we level out. And you get the speed goes up again. You start out. It's just not a. It just doesn't seem like I have it figured out to make a smooth climb.
And 350 for.
And so that's frustrating. All right. You know what we forgot to do? We'll come back and talk about Boston here in just a second, but I forgot to check our after takeoff checklist here. Okay, landing. It would have been nice because I screwed some stuff up. Landing gears up, it's checked right there. Flaps, I'm looking at them right now, 0, and they weren't up a second ago. Continuous climb is what I should be. I've got it at maximum cruise right now. Continuous climb, we'll just go ahead and nudge those guys forward. And that should help us hold our speed. Yeah, again, it's just so uneven. I got to get that figured out. I got to keep practicing on that. Okay, altimeters, pretty soon here we're going to be popping through 18, so we'll be going over to standard here in just a second. Yaw damper I can turn on. Yaw damper, uh-oh. I can't remember where the yaw damper is. There's the wings, dab. Yaw damper's up here, isn't it? Alright, signs, those are still... Wonder why that is. So the PED, I can understand you don't want portable electronic devices on, but does that also indicate that seat belts can be off? That's kind of weird. External lights, we've got them. We've got nav and strobe on, which is what we need. We've got our landing and taxi lights off, which is what we need. Weather radar, unfortunately, we don't have it. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to do. Shoot. Okay. We do need to do this. I like to have the wind on so we can see what's happening there, but I forgot we have synthetic vision. We could have had our runways and all that stuff lit up here. Drat. Oh well. That's okay. And then I like to leave that on because that does give us a little bit of traffic. Okay, airspeed. Yeah, it's holding now pretty well, and that's much more of a, just a nice ascent rate. We don't need, again, we don't need windshield heating. We don't need ice at this point. All right. Next checklist will be descent. So we can get out of there. And
Center, good afternoon. 3252 with you. Climber load 1,700 for 14.
We're going to go ahead. Go heading up.
370, Southwest 3252.
Okay, I think we're about configured for climb. Okay, we're through 18,000, so we'll set standard barrel. And All right. We're rolling. Uh-oh. Little guy got in trouble. Something very rare just happened, and that's why he's mad. He got told no by his papa, which is me. And I never say no. I'm the grandpa, right? I don't have to say no. So now he's breaking candles, keeping his dad busy. So Al South is saying, how did you learn about ATC communication? Honestly, just kind of trial and error. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and just kind of tried to emulate those guys. And then there were some things, you know, there's some good training programs out there. Boston Virtual has a really good pilot rating program that will help you with that kind of stuff as well. But honestly, it's just a matter of listening to guys that have done it, that do it for a living. I learned a lot from just watching Flight Chops, and you know, he's just a YouTuber that many people know about, but he jumps in with many different pilots that have proficiency in many different aircraft, and one of them happened to be in this aircraft, the Phenom 300. He has a friend named Osama, and they're flying all over the place in this dang plane, and one of the episodes was all about, well, not all about, but a big part of it was about just communication with air traffic and how it's different when you are VFR versus IFR. And so yeah, I just kind of try to absorb as much of that as I can, and when I'm on VATSIM, I just try to, like I say, emulate those guys. And the other part is, I think the ATC that are on VATSIM are so good about giving you correction if you say something that you shouldn't, or you say it incorrectly, or you request it at the wrong time, or whatever. So after a while, you just kind of get, I guess, less afraid of messing up. Yeah, like this guy, you can tell he's a little bit new.
Yeah, we've already been cleared up for that, so yeah.
Maybe not. But I just think as long as you're working with the controller, they'll work with you. And if you're always in that learning mode, I think you're going to pick things up and get better and better as you go. The only time I really ever hear the controllers get annoyed is when you miss your call. So say you're jabbering on like I am, and you miss the air traffic trying to get a hold of you, or you try to correct the air traffic controllers or point out mistakes that they're making, and that can get pretty annoying, obviously, because those guys, again, they're very, very, I mean, again, just look at the airspace that the center's controlling right now. You know, here we are, but all these other aircraft, including these smaller, now these smaller satellite airports, they're all being controlled top to bottom. So from clearance on up, there's a guy here at McGee Tyson that's getting ready to leave. Center is going to be contacted about probably getting their IFR clearance, and so they have to figure all that out while keeping everybody else safe. And anyway, so if you just kind of are always under the impression of no matter what ATC says, they're always right, generally speaking, you're going to be taken care of, number one, and you're going to avoid a lot of unnecessary friction, I guess, between you and the controllers. But again, those are very few and far between, and it's amazing if you just jump on, and it's like anything. If you've ever talked on the radio, you know, done public speaking or anything like that, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and that's just kind of the key to it. Is just, I think, just continuing to do it and learn, And every time you make a mistake, just learn from it, don't repeat it. Where I have trouble, honestly, I have much more trouble with VFR communication. Even though that should be, on the surface, it should be easier because you're not requesting these complicated clearances and flight plans and arrivals and departures. But for me, I find myself so busy managing and flying the airplane that I almost forget where I'm at and forget to ask for permission to enter airspaces and all that stuff there. So I'm really looking forward to when they have the voice Unicom, because I think that'll really help me with my VFR communication, where you have to make those calls to the uncontrolled airports and you actually have to communicate with the other planes. That's much more difficult for me than communicating with ATC. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that comes soon. I know they're working on the voice codec and they're doing some testing of that, and it sounds great. And hopefully the voice Unicom is right around the corner, right behind those new codecs. But yeah, that's kind of what I did. Love to hear what you guys do, and because I'm sure there's a lot of different ways to skin that cat. All right, we're closing in on our flight altitude. Once we get, I'll say this, the FLC, once it gets kind of almost like it's trimmed out, it does stay fairly consistent, and that is nice. Something that's just kind of caught my eye here. Excuse me. Why am I not seeing any other traffic here? I've got a bunch of traffic around.
Atlanta San Antonio 081, can we get an increase in our cruise
Strange.
altitude to 2360? Delta 081, climb maintain, final 360.
Alright.
Roger, up to 360, Delta 081, thank you. No problem.
Yeah, it's saying that our traffic awareness system is working. Do I have something? Yeah, it's on. That's odd. I don't know what the deal is here. Oh well. It's a small thing. So Al South is saying I'll try to using a similar approach. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, why are we doing this? I mean, we're doing it to have fun. It's an enjoyment, and there's that feeling of satisfaction when you are able to simulate something as close to the real world procedure as you can, or as close as you know. And so I would say don't forget about that, Al. Everyone is here because they enjoy it. This isn't anyone's job, and they're not, so they're a lot more chill when it comes to small mistakes, because they happen all the time. I mean, I've already, just in the climb out, I'm not even to top of descent yet, and I've already made like 5 mistakes. So I mean, I would just jump on there and be professional, be succinct. Try to eliminate. My big thing that I need to try to do better is eliminate using the word to or the word for, because that can become difficult, to descend. So like one of the things that I do a bad job of is I will, like if I'm climbing, I'll say something like 502 Foxtrot, 3,500 for 5,000, and that's not a huge deal, but with that extra 4 in there, you know, depending on if you're broken or something, you know, I don't want the air traffic guy or a different, you know, a different aircraft, if we ever get to that point where we're doing voice intercom, I don't want them to misunderstand what I'm saying. So, you know, a better way to say that, instead of saying 3,000, you know, 3,500 for 5, or like the cool guys say 3.5 for 5, is to say something like this: 3,500 climbing 5,000. That way you're clear, you're succinct. Air traffic knows where you're going and what you're doing, what your intentions are, and it's not super wordy. You know, I think that's kind of one of the key things that those guys are looking for. And you know, the other thing that you can do is you can reach out to the controllers. I mean, they all have their own TeamSpeak, their own Discord, their own way to reach them via some sort of social media, and you can just say, look, what do you know, what's the best thing to do to report this, or do I check in? Are you the person I check in with? How do I do that? I mean, I'm doing that right now. You'd be surprised. Almost every VFR flight that I fly, I will text chat with the controller, and I will, before I get online to say anything, because I don't want to sound, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing, which I don't. But you know, I'll just say, hey, do I check in here? And they'll say, yeah, that's I'm the right guy, or they'll say, no, that's an uncontrolled field, so you don't check in with me until you're airborne, and all that stuff. You know, but anyway, it's I would just, that's been my big thing, Al, is to eliminate the word two and the word four, and eliminate stuff like, you know, slang words like in the box. You know, like, what's your squawk code? You know, my squawk right now is what is it, 1264? Yeah. So you know, when they say transponder or your squawk 1264, then just repeat it back like they say. You don't have to be Mr. Cool Guy and say 1264 in the box or whatever. Like, I mean, don't just repeat it back clearly, succinctly. Don't, you know, when they call you, respond right away. I think if you do those things, you're going to be good to go, and you'll develop your own style, Al. I mean, everybody kind of has their own way, even though it's very, you know, for the most part, it's very standardized in what you're supposed to say and how you're supposed to say it and when you're supposed to say it. But you know, you'll kind of hear everybody has their own, you know, their own style of both communicating to ATC and ATC communicating back to the pilots, that's kind of cool, I think. Hey, Al South is saying he's really enjoying the fly learning process. Yeah, and the ATC is that next layer. Yep, phraseology and procedures, and he's just about ready to get into that layer. Yeah, and you know, you can pick like events like this, you know, on a Sunday afternoon. That's probably about the right type of event for you when you feel comfortable with your plane and your procedures, because it's fairly busy but not crazy busy. I think the place to start is, like, look at those lone, you know, like those lone approaches or lone ground. You know, those airports that are out there in the middle of nowhere that all of a sudden you see ATC pop up and there's nothing else around it. And so, you know, for the longest time when I was first starting out, I would look for those guys. I would look for any airport that had just ground, and I would go to ground and I would practice requesting a flight plan, listening to taxi instructions. You know, that's probably one of the hardest parts, is just taxiing your plane around the airport. And I mean, because it can be pretty confusing when they give you all these different, I mean, cross this runway and turn left on this taxiway and head to this gate. And so I spent a lot of time where that's the only ATC I had is just ground, and I would get kind of used to that, and then I would fly my route, and whatever else happened once I was in the air, I was kind of uncontrolled. Whatever else happened. It was just me. Then I could practice things like, you know, flying my route and picking the right procedure to arrive at the airport,
Delta 81,
picking my
contact
right
distance,
approach,
124.82,
my
bye-bye.
correct runway, all that stuff. And then, yeah, okay, Al South is saying, is it okay to just taxi and then get out of the network? Yeah, so like you could, if you just coordinate actually with the controller, you could work on spawning at different parts of the airport, and you could just tell them that either in your notes, or you could, you know, private text them, you know, and say, look, here's what I'm trying to do. Do you mind if I practice taxiing to a couple different runways? Or, well, they probably won't do that, but from a couple different locations on the airport. And that way, yeah, you get practice pulling out your charts, whatever you're using for charts, and kind of locating where you are on the airport. And then how do I get from point A to point B? If I'm doing a little bigger jet, you know, I need to worry about pushback, and I need to make sure I'm getting my tail or my nose facing the correct direction, you know. And yeah, and then you can start looking for, you know, maybe then you expand and you look for those airports that just have approach or departure on, because they're going to give you all the same stuff that ground would give you, but then they're going to control you. Well, actually, maybe you step your way up to tower, and tower is going to control you all the way until you've lifted off, basically. So they're gonna contact you on your way to, you know, the holding point.
Jonesy 2 arrival, shot out with a 3070.
Okay, Jonesy 2 and 3000, 502 Foxtrot. But anyway, yeah, and then yeah, if you get kind of out of their airspace, if they hand you off, you can just disconnect and respawn and reconnect. And I mean, I'd let the guy know that that's what you're planning on doing. But if it's, a lot of times it's just them, and if it's one of those airports out there in Idaho or something, you're probably the only game in town. And what I've honestly found is they appreciate the traffic, because they're doing kind of the same thing you're doing. They're trying to practice their phraseology. They're trying to practice making sure that they're identifying where the plane is in the airspace, and then what do they need to do, when do they need to, you know, like if it's ground, I mean, he's going to need to be able to keep everybody from crashing into each other, and you know, so they're going to appreciate the traffic also. And that's something I did. And then for a while I would flip it over, and I would depart from a non-ATC airport, and I would look for airfields that had controllers, so that I could work on my, you know, coming in and working on my getting clearance into the airspace, and then getting clearance into the particular runway. And you follow along with what I'm saying, and that's worked really well for me. And then pretty soon you're ready to jump up and try, you know, look for something where center is controlling everything, and then you get, you know, full coverage basically, from airport to airport. And, you know, don't go super long. A flight just like this is just about an hour. That's just about right. Lets you get up to cruise. It lets you look around at things, like we just were cleared to arrive via the Jones 2. So we need to be looking kind of at our chart here. We're going to be heading into best. Actually, we're past best, so we need to probably start to descend. Yeah, we need to be down to 240 at Cup. Okay, so here I am yammering on. Let's get ourselves down to 240. And we're going to VNAV that down. And I'm going to actually slow down just a little bit. Well, actually, let's see. Let's see if that holds it for us.
721, runway 24. Sorry, Boeing 721, flying on the head end, runway 24, no takeoff.
We need to be... Oh, and it does have a speed restriction here, yeah, so 270. So we are going to want to slow down a little bit. Yeah, we're going to be a bit high here. I'm I'm going to pull back on my throttle.
American, oh, sorry, disregard.
That'll allow us to get to 270, and that'll help us be able to pick up our descent rate here, because right there is Cup, and we need to be 240, and we're a little high right now. I think we can get there. While we're doing that, let me see here. So there's Cup. We're I don't have to. Yeah, we're not quite. It's the overlay, so we're right in here somewhere. We need to be 240 at Cup, between 260 and 17 at Cake, and again we've got speed restrictions. We need to be between 210 and 11 at Jones, depending on the direction. Again, I think we're landing, I believe we're going to be landing south. I'll go pick up the ATIS in just a second. So, we're going to follow this track here. So we've got, we need to essentially be down to 9,000 at air. That's kind of our big thing, in 210 knots. Yeah, Al South, happy to help, man. It's just just a little at a time, and amazing how fast you pick it up. And but again, don't feel bad about, like I say, just totally stealing from those guys that know better, because there's some seriously talented guys out there that can give you all kinds of hints and pointers, and you pick that stuff up. It's not like they're teaching you per se, but just by listening to them, you pick things up, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's why you do it that way, or that's what the controller was asking me about, and yeah. So, and then when you're feeling good about things in the U.S., then what really gets fun is to hop over into European airspace, or even Canadian airspace, because they have just a little different way of doing things. And so yeah, but looking forward to hearing how you progress on that, man. It's so the YouTube channel I mentioned before is Flight Chops, and he's a Canadian guy that he kind of fancies the older aircraft like myself, so I like him. The other guy that is really good is Steve-O-1 Knievo, and so Steve-O-1 Knievo is much more like this type of flying. Flight Chops is more VFR, and so if you listen to both of those guys, you're gonna really pick up on a lot of good phraseology, and it's even though Flight Chops was it was the episode where they were flying the Phenom that was. Yeah, this is not working for me, guys. I wonder why. I'm slowed down, way slow. VNav should be controlling me so that I am, well, maybe that's what it's doing. Controlling me so that I'm at 240. Actually, you know what? I better check on something. Sorry to not finish my story here. Cup, yeah, 240. Ooh, so this is going to be interesting. Cake. I'm going to look at Cake here. Honestly, Cake needs to be. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this. I think I've got. Cup is okay. That's got to be 24,000. Cake has got to be between 2.6 and 17. So I'm just going to put it at. Maybe if I go about 180.
And remember, so the Southwest 2230, I believe your airspace. Can we get a frequency change?
If I know how to do that, yeah. 18,000. Let's see if that. Yeah, that's not. I forgot how to edit that, guys. Sorry about that. So I'm going to just do this. We're going to be 240 at Cup. That's not going to be an issue. I'm going to go vertical speed mode though here, and I'm going to just increase that a little bit because I want to get my speed back up to around 270. And
3877, contact Charlotte for 12615.
I think that'll be a pretty good kind of continuous descent. Speed should come back up and I should be in good shape. Yeah, so Al South is saying, yeah, I've seen a few of his videos. Yeah, he was, I think, at Flight Sim, because Flight Sim Expo, he did one episode there, but yeah, so he's the guy, like, if you're really interested, because his whole vlog is all about him just recording his learning experience, and he's actually right now going through obtaining his instrument rating, and so that's why he is spending time with his friend Osama, who owns, or well, not owns, but who does a lot of flying in the Phenom. And they spend a lot of time studying, and in the process of studying for his IFR, they talk a lot about phraseology and just what it means to talk to ATC. So you'll like it. He's very, very fun to watch, entertaining to watch, and seems like a good Joe. And then Steve One Knievo, he's the other guy that very good IFR type of communication, and he flies a TBM and sometimes a Caravan, and yeah, so those are two good channels. Oh, who's the other guy? Twin Cessna guy. I'm kind of looking at my subscriptions right now. Just watched. He just flew. I won't be able. If I think of him, I'll mention. But he flies a twin Cessna and does a lot of both IFR and VFR comms, and records them. I mean, he does a good job of recording that, so you can listen and emulate him. And his wife flies with him a lot of times, and she's actually a controller, and so a lot of times she's the one that's kind of almost like a pilot monitor and making the radio calls, and they're pretty good too. Is it 310 pilot? It might be 310 pilot. Well, there's no shortage. I mean, you know how YouTube works. As soon as you watch a Flight Chops video, you're gonna get recommendations for all kinds of videos. All right, looking.
Maintain 310. 310, 2587.
Man, why can't I find him? It's going to drive me nuts if I don't find this channel. He's really good. Yeah. 2615, 2 Fox, see ya. It's 310 pilot. That's the other guy. All right, I got to get busy here. 2615. Haven't even got the ATIS yet. I need to do that real quick before I check in. Alright, I'm looking here. Charlotte ATIS is, I'm going to just make a note of this so I don't forget. Information Kilo. We do have some hazardous weather for the Charlotte area. Let's see here. But pretty good. 210 or 220 at 11, 10 statute miles of viz. A few clouds. Simultaneous visual approaches. Okay, so it's a visual type of day for runway 18 left, 18 center, and 18 right. So we could potentially get any of them. We'll maybe request 18 left if he doesn't give it to us. But let's go ahead and check in here. And Charlotte approach, good afternoon. Phenom 502 Foxtrot, descending through flight level 230 information kilo. We're on the Jones 2.
November 502 Foxtrot. Respect the Charlotte approach. Good evening. Respect the ILS runway 18 left approach Charlotte 3000.
We'll expect the ILS 18 left approach and altimeter 3000. Thanks, 502 Foxtrot. All right, let's set that. Right there, that check-in, I think I could tighten up as well. I mean, I don't think I need to say we are on the, that's 3 words I could just not say. I should have said, 502 Foxtrot, descending, flight level 230, Jones 2, information kilo. All right, that's all you need right there. So he knows you have the correct ATIS. He knows you're on an approach. He knows he can verify your altitude, and that's really all you need to do. But again, that's just all stuff that you tighten up as you go. Let's see, looks like we're just passing. I gotta figure out cake. We should be between 260 and 170. There's us, and we're doing good. And again, our goal here is to, since we're going to be 18 left over here, we're going to be we want to be down to air 9,000. I'm sure that Charlotte will be probably giving us descent vectors and speed restrictions and things like that, but we'll just keep that plugged in just in case. We don't have another speed restriction until Jones, which is actually coming up here. Yep, and we need to be at 250 when we get to Jones. We'll just back off the I won't worry about setting the speed because we're not using the FLC or VNAV right now. We'll just use our throttle to get that down to about 210.
American 877, fly heading 360, center maintain 6,000, reduce speed to 110.
Fly heading 360, American 877.
American 877, center maintain 6,000, reduce speed to 110.
Center maintain 6,000, reduce speed to 210 knots, American 877.
See, right now my speed's creeping up just a little bit, so I'm just pulling the throttle back just slightly. Just a little bit of speed reduction here to try to make sure that I stay as close to 270 as I can. I do think you have some wiggle room on that. I think they realize sometimes it's tough to be right on 270. Depending on the plane, it can be real tough to be right on 270. Alright, so just peeking ahead here, since we have a minute, let's take a look at what the 18 left, the ILS for 18 left looks like. We're going to need a frequency of 110.35. We're going to need a heading of 183. We are going to need to remember missed approach. We're going to climb to 1300 and make a left-hand climbing turn. Okay, so we're out here to Locust, and that's a 4,000 feet altitude, and that is a
American 877
zero.
Did you say?
What is that? That's a
004?
left turn 093 radial from
flight
the
heading 360.
Charlotte VOR.
Flight heading 360, American 877.
Okay, so we need to have. We'll get all that entered in here real quick. Again, our airport elevation. Where the heck are we? 784, sorry, 748. Right there. So decision height right around 1,000. All right, all good information. 110.3. Here's where I have the hardest time grabbing that outer. There we go. 110.3. Plug that in. Charlotte VOR I'm also going to put in just in case we have to go on the go around. That was 115.0. I didn't point that out, sorry about that, but you'll have to trust me. If we need to go around, we'll pop that in real quick because we have to head out on the 093. We have to head out east basically up to 4,000. Alright.
877, just want to maintain close.
Jones, we need to be 250, so we're a little quick.
Maintain 4,000, American 877.
And what was our altitude again? Just to confirm, we needed to be between 210 and 11,000, so we're doing good there. Our next one coming up here. We've got a little bit of an issue. Charlotte is our uh-oh. Alright, so we need to get our approach selected. And here's where it gets weird, guys and gals. ILS 18 left.
4,000, turn right heading 120.
Copy is copy our.
Wait, what'd you say?
What the heck?
Turn right heading 120.
Descending maintain 4,000, turn right 120.
I think that's.
American 877.
Alright, this could get a little cray-cray, so we're going to do this. Heading mode is on. We're going to say yeah to that. Maybe. Alright, come on. Down we go, down we go, down we go. We want to load this in. And then, so here's what's weird about this. Okay, we should have a waypoint right here. The Doseby waypoint. And then at that point we vector north, and that's when we join the actual, well, and so it doesn't even have it. So we should vector north.
American 877, turn right heading 150.
Hey boy.
Runway 18 center localizer.
We somehow did not get that entered in. Okay, so it's loaded. I highly doubt I'll be able to do this. Yeah, I don't think I will. Dang it. Alright, well, I can't, so I was going to see if I could insert a waypoint here, and it won't let me. Shoot. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to wing it. We're going to estimate, we're going to use this to estimate when we are about to Dobie. And when we get to Dobie, then we're going to turn. I see our heading is 003. We might get vectored before that. If we do, cool. If we don't, so be it. In the meantime, we can We can activate our VOR. We need an approach course we set at 183. Spin that around. Also need to be slowing down because we'll be at 210 at the air waypoint. Alright, 183, almost to Dosby. We'll be turning 003 here in just a second, and we'll be leveling at 9,000, and actually we need to be down to 6,000 at Jordan, which is 12 DME from air, which is about 14.3 from where we're going to turn, which is right now 003. All right.
Number 502 Foxtrot, turn left heading 350, just going to maintain 6,000.
Left turn 350 down to 6,000, 2 Fox. Okay, 350.
American 877,
6,000.
contact
And we're going to bring that speed down to 210. I'm going to, now that we're getting vectored, I can go ahead and activate the approach. I'm going to pull it up here on my Navigraph chart first, just so I have, so this is the visual I'm working off of on the other screen while we set everything up on this screen. So yeah, we ended up being pretty close, but always nice to have that kind of visual confirmation. So let's go down here, and we want to hit procedure, and we want to activate vectors to final, because that's what we're doing right now. Well, this should go away. This should become pink, and it's not. So if I activate approach, yeah, nothing. So let's try this again. So this is again a little bit glitchy, I think, in my opinion. You should be able to,
502 Fox, turn 10 degrees right.
10 degrees right, 502 Foxtrot. You should be able to load the approach in and then activate it when the controller did what he just did there, which is, hey, turn left heading 350 down 6,000. You're getting vectored to final. That's what that little option is. So we are going to activate here and see. Yeah, so now I just got all kinds of crazy stuff going on here, and I don't know, I have no idea. It's almost like it's, well, shoot, I don't know. That's something we're still working on here with this plane, but it's okay. We've got our information in that we need to here. We've got our VOR tuned. We'll be able to be able to make our approach. Oh, that might be why it's ILS. Little cloud layer over there. But the ATIS was saying visual approaches, so I think we're going to be okay either way. Again, not exactly by the book here, but that's why we're flying this thing, is so we can figure out these little quirks.
Booster 28 Center, W27, we have information kilo.
Let's see, so that's updated, because no, we had kilo. That was our information, our ATIS information when we checked in a second ago. On our way down. Again, 210 is basically where we want to be. Once we get past that, we'll start pulling the power back again. Let me just double check one thing real quick like.
November 502 Foxtrot, going to maintain 5,000.
502 Foxtrot. So just checking our VREF there, and again it's 115 is what we're shooting for, and so we can slowly step our speed down here as well. This thing will really start to pitch up if you get down below 200 though, so you can't you can't get too slow too quick. I made a mess of that. Anybody that flies this plane, if you can tell me what I'm doing wrong when it comes to, that's kind of the last thing as far as flight planning that I'm still trying to figure out, is how to load an approach and then activate vectors to final. I think I have all the information in there because I do tend to end up where I'm supposed to, but that's not right. I'm no pilot, but I know that's not right. Yeah, see, so here's what we've got. I know something that's just funky right now is we should be, this should be our active leg.
Email 502 Foxtrot, turn right heading 090.
Right turn 090, 2 Fox. Okay, let's close that out. Let's turn 090. This thing takes forever to spin around. Maybe I need the leg that's active to be that next leg. From KV to what, I have best in there too. Oh, that might be part of the problem. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make this the active leg. That may be the problem in this case. We have this waypoint best out here, and it's thinking that it's part of the approach. So it's actually heading out to best twice. I must have best in there. There, it must be in there again. Nope, ever. It's going out to ever also. Wow. Me entering that waypoint out of order at the very beginning. Right turn 160, join the localizer, 502 Foxtrot. Yeah, me making that one mistake at the beginning has had an effect on my approach here, so we're not even going to worry about that. We're going to, that may affect us though, may affect us intercepting the localizer. Geez, I don't know, it might. Yeah, that might just be a huge pain in the butt. Alright, we're going to do something real quick here just to see if we can pull it out of the brink. Let's activate that leg. And again, that's now, dang it. Alright, we're through. I'm pretty sure we're through the localizer. That's a little bit frustrating right there.
3 miles from snack, clear ILS, runway 18 left approach.
Clear for the ILS, 18 left approach, 502 Foxtrot. Alright, so we need to, let's see if we get, I see a runway. We're We're fairly close. I mean, we're not that far off. Yeah, if we were to arm that, okay, we need to be, by the way, down at 3,000 at queued. Let's continue our descent. Our speeds come down nicely. I don't mind that. We just need to make sure that we're finding the right runway. I see one here. We've got a 1-8 left. We've got a 1-8 center and a 1-8 right. And I think the center and right, I think they're both over here on the right side of the airfield. And I don't know if my default scenery is going to show both of those. But what we're looking for the one that's on the left-hand side. Yep, that's exactly what we're looking for. Real quick peek here. 1-8 left for sure is the one on the east side, and then these two are on the west side. So I think I vaguely see one right there. I definitely see one over there. We don't have the ILS. We don't have the localizer. We don't have the glide slope. We're going to be down to 3,000 at queued, and then I think what we're going to do is just fly it in by hand. In fact, I think we're just going to do that right now. Let's turn yaw dampers off, turn the autopilot off, try to maintain that 1,000 feet or so per minute. Actually, I don't think we need even to be that steep at this point. More like around 700, because we are a bit low. So we'll kind of not really level off, but we'll arrest our descent just a bit here. Maybe make it more like 500 per minute. Get our speed down to around 180.
And approach 227. We're a little high at freak right now, but we should make air.
I do have Charlotte Tower, by the way. I need to put that in there. 118.1.
7, thanks for the update. We need to send via the Jones to arrival and depart Jordan intersection heading 360.
Alright, tower is set. Now all of a sudden we're super high. Well, not super high, but a little high.
Charlotte Tower 18.1, good night.
Over to Tower 18.1. We'll see you. 502 Foxtrot. And Charlotte Tower 502 Foxtrot on the approach 18 left. First notch of flaps.
502 Foxtrot, Charlotte Tower 12011, runway 18 left, clear to land.
18 left, clear to land. 502 Foxtrot. Man, we just got super high all of a sudden. We are throwing in flaps.
Sink rate.
Yeah, got a little
Sink
steep
rate.
there. Sorry about that, buddy. Doesn't like it when we get over 1,500 feet per minute, and I don't blame him. We've been bumped over to the left a little bit, trying to recapture the glide slope. Alright, second notch of flaps coming in. We're very, very fast at this point, but we are within gear speed, so we'll drop the gear.
Check gear.
Yep.
Check gear.
It just went down,
Check
buddy.
gear.
It's down. Settle down. There we go. Now we're back on glide slope. I got to get myself back over on the localizer, though. A little bit breezy. We did have a hazardous weather report if we wanted to go read it. The main thing was just gusty winds, and I'm feeling it a little bit right now. They're 220, so just kind of coming off our right-hand side.
500.
All right, more stable now. Speed's looking better. Gears down. Flaps 3. Getting a little bit low. Adding some power. Yeah, we're going to be a little shallow on this. but that's okay. See if we can get the center line, come off the crab, and we are down. Of course, no reverse thrusters on this.
Where are you parking?
Heading to signature 502 Fox.
As you Fox, Roger. Turn left at Delta 4. You can make it.
Left turn Delta 4, 502 Foxtrot. Alright.
502 Foxtrot, thanks. Contact ground, point 9, we'll see you.
And over to ground. Thanks for the ATC. We'll see you next time, 502 Foxtrot. Hey, I didn't notice we had ground on.
Yeah.
So again, this is default scenery, so there won't really be any super duper like FBO here, but that's okay. Excuse me. 1219er, we're clear of the runway. Let's check in and see. I think we are actually almost right there. Let's see where he sends us. And ground, good afternoon. Phenom 502 Foxtrot, we're clear of runway 18 left, just heading into the GA ramp. Forgot to do that. Those were all set though. Approach. Forgot to do that, didn't I? Yes, I did.
Sierra 502 Foxtrot, Charlotte ground. Where is the signature?
You know what? I just was assuming you had one. I'm just probably straight ahead to the GA ramp. Is just fine for us.
Alright, straight ahead GA ramp via Delta. Delta 5.
Straight ahead via Delta to the GA ramp. Thanks for the help. See you next time, 2 Fox. Yeah, I don't.
Nice one.
Actually, and that's not an FBO, so that's my bad. That's just GA. I don't see FBO anywhere on here, so that when you have an FBO, that's generally where you have something like Signature or one of those kind of nationwide chains. But all right, so we didn't do, like I said, we skipped over some checklists. I got to get better at that, and that cost me because I didn't have my external lights set, and that's bad. I'm about to drive on the grass, which is also bad. Before landing, I did take all of this. Flaps, airspeed, all that stuff was set. So that's good. And now after landing, flaps are going to come up. Basically cleaning up here. Lights, yeah, I could put the taxi lights on, I guess. I don't really need them. It's daylight. And then a transponder. I don't know if there's anything other options other than on or off with this plane. I know some planes will let you select ground mode, so that way you're not broadcasting to any planes flying up in the air that there's traffic in the area, but we're just going to say that's as required. And then shutdown will be next. We're going to just find a nice place to park here and call it good. As always, lots of fun in this plane, but lots of stuff still to learn, but that's okay. That just means I gotta come back to it. One thing we're gonna do right now is we're gonna set the parking brake. So thrust levers are to idle. Parking brake is set. Windshield switches, we never did turn them on. They're right there. They're off. ADS probes to auto. I don't remember where the ADS probes are. I don't remember where those are. I might have to look that up, guys. Sorry about that. Engine 1 and 2 switches come off. I never did turn the wing stabilizer on as well. Probably could have used that guy coming in with that wind. Start stop knobs are to stop. Yep, that's where we're at. Yeah. Status, all that stuff there needs to be checked. Signs, all this stuff can come off. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think we need to turn the
solid ground.
we do have GPU available if we need it, but I don't think we
it.
need it. We would turn the battery off at this point in time, kind of save all of that. Ooh, we did have the hydros on, and we did have those fuel pumps on. We'll turn those guys off. That guy was also on. We'll turn him off. And the ignition needs to be turned off, and I think that pretty well buttons it up. All right, well, hey, that was pretty fun. Great job, ZLT Airspace. Thanks for hanging out. We actually finished approximately 20 minutes late, so thanks for staying on, you guys. I do appreciate that. It was always good to get down and check you guys out. Real fast before we head out, just a couple things coming up. Again, all of this is very, very tentative. As you know, my wife just had some surgery, so I'm kind of being the helper male nurse guy, and well, not much of a nurse, but I'm trying to help as much as I can. So if she needs me, I got to kind of run, and she does a good job with most everything, but there are still a few things that she needs help with. But so all of these events coming up are tentative. So there's a good chance we'll be flying somewhere tomorrow. It's Monday. There's a lot of stuff that goes on Monday, whether it's up in the Northeast in the Moncton area, or our buddy Rob from Slant Alpha Adventures. Usually he's up in his Barren somewhere. So we may be flying, and check us out. Probably be about midnight Zulu again. But Tuesday we're going to be in NorCal. We're going to be flying around some of those smaller airfields, and we may combine. We may combine Tuesday and Wednesday's flight, because Wednesday we tend to do a small airport feature, so Tuesday we're going to be in NorCal anyway. It's going to be a little later. That event doesn't start till 0100 Zulu, and then Wednesday we'll be featuring some small airports somewhere around the world. I might go across to Europe. I've got a few that I've reinstalled that I forgot how fun they are. So you guys that were with us today, airport guys, Al South, appreciate you stopping in. Al South, thanks again for all the prayers. It's been good. Honestly, it's I could tell you some stories, but just making it home from the hospital, where we live, it's very, very rural, and it's a 6-hour drive to the hospital for us, and so that's not a huge deal. But the drive home after the procedure is a huge deal, and that took almost 8 hours, and so you can imagine, what that was like for her post surgery, trying to make it back, and anyway, we needed every prayer that you guys tossed up. So I do appreciate that very, very much. And all right, until next time, again, we'll see if for sure on Tuesday, maybe tomorrow even. But I'll keep my eyes peeled and hope to see you on TCAS. Take care, everybody. God bless.